What does it take to save a species that is the last of its kind? Protecting a rare bug or a frog is one thing, but when your target is the largest mammal on the continent, things can get a bit complicated. Today, we have climbed thousands of meters up into the Andes Mountains on the hunt for an animal that you may not have realized calls South America home: the spectacled bear. These incredible animals are being pushed to the brink of extinction, but a dedicated group of scientists are working to secure their future here in Ecuador, and we're going to show you how they're doing it and how you can help. Spectacled bears are one of South America's most elusive mammals, so to get them on camera is going to put all of our wildlife hunting skills to the test. These little-known bears are extremely difficult to track down in the wild, not only because they're very wary of humans, but also because they live in remote, hard-to-navigate habitats that they are total masters of. However, that is not going to stop us from trying. My name is Harrison, and this is Evan. We're twin brothers on a mission to help you become an insider in the natural world, which means that we want to give you a glimpse into the secret lives of animals that most people will never get to see. To be able to find this incredible species for the very first time, we're joined by several of our most talented and experienced wildlife filmmaker friends as we work alongside Danilo Vasquez, a world-renowned spectacled bear expert who has an intimate knowledge of these animals and this place. We have been invited to assist him in a day of his research fieldwork, documenting what individual bears are moving through the area and recording what they're getting up to in the habitat. This is part of his ongoing research that's focused on figuring out what spectacled bears need in their ecosystems to be able to survive into the future, and how we can best help them do it. This mission to find the bears would be next to impossible if we were to try it on our own, but that's the great thing about working with the foremost expert on your target, as Danilo knows exactly where we need to go to start our search.
All right, the journey has begun. We are hiking to the first spot where we're gonna camp out the bears. You guys excited?
Oh yeah.
What I'm told is that there's a path that the bears have to follow each morning to get to the grounds where they feed. So we are going to camp out at a particular spot and see if we can cross paths with them. We'll have to be a fair distance back, but we're gonna see if we can get the big lens on them. You guys have some gear that can get out there?
Certainly hope so.
Yeah. All right, that's the mission.
Spectacled bears have an incredibly long geographic range, but their actual distribution is extremely narrow. They're found in a 4,600-kilometer-long band that stretches from Venezuela all the way to Argentina, but only in a thin, 200 to 650-kilometer-wide strip of the Andes where the elevation is suitable for their preferred habitats. This means that getting to the right place to find the bears is no easy feat, and even once you're there, the journey has only just begun.
I want to try and get lots of shots of the terrain because it's so beautiful, but we have to keep up with the group or else we can miss some really cool shots of the bears. And as you can see, this trail is really steep, so I gotta keep moving.
The trail we're hiking down is no joke. Over 200 meters of narrow switchbacks on what I can only describe as an aggressive slope. Danilo mentioned that it's the equivalent of about 60 flights of stairs, and trust me, it felt like it. But what's incredible is, the bears navigate this terrain with ease. They are impressively adaptable animals, able to live in a staggering variety of habitats, including cloud forests, páramos, deserts, grasslands, and even agricultural zones if the conditions are right. This adaptability has allowed spectacled bears to survive here in the Andes for millions of years. And the farther we hiked into the valley, the more this mission felt like traveling back in time. And not just because of the habitat. See, spectacled bears are the last living members of one of the most impressive prehistoric families on Earth, the short-faced bears, which includes what is quite possibly the largest carnivorous land mammal to ever exist, the gigantic Arctotherium angustidens. The rest of the short-faced bears went extinct around 12,000 years ago, so the prospect of seeing a true relic of the Ice Age had us all very excited. And luckily, after only a little while of staking out the site, Danilo called out that he had spotted the bear we had come so far to find.
This is all we can get on our phones, but he is in this shot right now.
Yep, here it is.
There he is. Oh, wow. Just a little blacked out right now, but we might be able to get closer in a little bit. Right now, we're just watching him come up the mountainside here. But this is so exciting. Already we have a bear. It's gonna be a great day. These spectacled bears are really impressive animals. They're actually the largest carnivore in South America. They can grow to over 2.5 meters in length and over 200 kilos. These are massive animals. And they are actually the only bear that is found on the continent of South America.
So we already spotted the male, Gabriel, but there apparently is a female that's hiding in the brush up there. And she's gonna move up and to the left. Hopefully she comes out soon.
As we collected footage of Gabriel, it was amazing to listen to Danilo and see just how much he really knows about these animals. The fact that he could accurately ID this individual from the shots we were getting is impressive in itself, but his depth of knowledge about the bear's behaviors is what really blew me away. Danilo was watching the footage through our camera screen and narrating Gabriel's activities as they happened, and he was quickly able to tell that the bear was foraging. This is actually very useful for Danilo's research because it gives him real-time data about which bears are in the area and what they're eating at this time of year. He explained that foraging is one of the most common behaviors to see when observing spectacled bears because they spend an astounding 70% of their waking hours searching for food. And when you consider what they're eating, it makes sense why they need to forage so much.
Despite being the largest predatory mammals here in South America, the diet of the spectacled bear is actually omnivorous, and a significant portion of what they eat is actually fruit and plant matter. So they'll forage for vegetation all along these mountain hills. Although they will take meat when they can get it, they primarily subsist on plant matter, which is a really unique thing about these incredible animals.
Their diet can be composed of over 75% high-sugar plant foods like bromeliads, palm tree cores, and fruits, sometimes even including human crops when better options aren't available. These food sources are pretty low in protein, something they need a lot of to be healthy, so spectacled bears have to eat a massive amount of plants to get the nutrients they require. The trouble is, it's very difficult for mammals, especially carnivorans like bears, to break down fibrous plant materials, so they rely on some crazy adaptations to deal with this unusual diet. Spectacled bears have the largest jaw muscles of any bear and one of the largest heads proportional to their body size to match, and these powerful muscles allow them to grind down the plants they eat into a form that's much easier to digest. These adaptations have allowed them to survive in a habitat where protein-rich meals are a rare commodity, and over millions of years they've become perfectly adapted to this lifestyle. As we continued observing Gabriel, he settled down for a nap. But just when we thought things might slow down again, we caught a glimpse of another bear peeking out of the vegetation.
After a little more waiting, the female has emerged from the brush. Her name is Maria Jose, we're told, and she is looking right at us. She's even closer than the male is. I'm on her right now, actually. She just poked her head out of the brush. She's tracking along the side of the mountain, possibly grazing. And the male has woken up from his nap because he's probably smelling the female's presence. This is absolutely unbelievable.
We turned the camera onto Maria Jose for a while, and what we caught her doing is actually really interesting. Despite their size, spectacled bears actually spend more time up in trees than most other bears. And what she's doing is constructing and resting in a nest of vegetation, a behavior unique to this species. They use these nests as platforms to feed or sleep in. And even large bears will climb high into the canopy and build nests like Maria Jose has done here. Now, we've been pretty specific about calling out the bears by sex and even by name, and you may be wondering how on earth we could possibly tell who's who. Well, that's actually a big part of Danilo's research, as he can use the distinct facial markings of these animals to tell them apart and keep track of a ton of fascinating things about them.
Danilo is one of the foremost experts on spectacled bears and a true local conservation legend. He started observing this bear population in 2010 and has since gone on to spend over 15,000 hours directly observing the bears in the field, making him one of the most accomplished spectacled bear researchers in the world. There are over 47 bears that Danilo recognizes by face and name.
Maria Jose, Yo-Yo, Veronica.
And what's crazy is he can even tell you what life stage they're in and who they're related to. His research is focused on understanding the hidden secrets of these elusive mammals' lives, including what food sources and other habitat features they're using, and also what behaviors they're utilizing to do it. He literally wrote the book on spectacled bear behaviors because he constructed the first ethogram, or list of an animal's known behaviors, that has ever been produced for wild spectacled bears. He's also trying to understand where they migrate throughout the year. It's known that these animals are somewhat nomadic and will move through different habitat types at different times, and Danilo is interested in figuring out where they go, how long they stay, and when they will return to the Paramo, because these are things that science currently doesn't understand for certain.
Our assignment while we were with him was to capture the best footage of the bears that we could to add to his ongoing monitoring efforts. And with our shots, combined with Danilo's expertise, we were able to get an intimate look into the lives of these animals and see what they're up to. Danilo's work extends far beyond his research, though, because he founded MOA, the Mirador del Oso Andino, or the Andine Bear Lookout, which is a scientific and ecotourism organization that connects both scientists and citizens alike with these incredible bears.
MOA serves as both a physical location to observe the bears along a preserved expanse of montane cloud forest, but also a nonprofit that organizes research opportunities, engages in educational outreach with the local communities, and facilitates conservation action to protect the spectacled bears and their habitat. Acclaimed researchers from all over the world have come here to study the bears, but what's even more important are the educational programs that MOA runs, as they've been able to share the story of these bears with thousands of people every year, allowing everyone from local school children to international guests like us to experience a part of our planet that they probably never could otherwise.
It was an unforgettable experience to join Danilo on one of these adventures, and we spent the whole morning and much of the afternoon filming the bears, getting to see them eat, construct their nest platforms, and of course, sleep. We then made the grueling hike back up to the lookout, and after filming some cool local birds and getting some much-needed rest, Danilo gifted us with another incredible opportunity. We had spotted some more bears down in the valley, and he invited us to head down the trail again to see if we could pick up any more shots, and there was no way we were gonna pass that up.
It is now the late afternoon. We barely have any sunlight left, but we've seen at least 4 different bears, including some different individuals than what we saw this morning. And Danilo just told us we can go back down to where we can film them a bit closer, so Rex and I are rushing down. Everyone else is behind us. This hike up is gonna be brutal, but worth it to see more bears. All right, I have to put the phone away or I am gonna slip and fall.
We reached the cliff we were aiming for and arrived just in time to see a male emerge from the vegetation and start making his way up the mountainside. It's really not hard to see how perfectly adapted these bears are for life in this rugged environment. And what's fascinating is, the forest itself is in turn shaped by the bears.
Being almost entirely herbivorous, these bears consume an incredible amount of fruit and other plant material, and in doing so, ingest a lot of seeds. When the bears poop, they disperse those seeds all over the landscape, each with their own little pile of fertilizer to encourage new growth, which allows the forest to replenish and expand, and provides new food sources for the bears and more habitats for all the animals in the area.
In this way, spectacled bears act as ecosystem engineers, as they fundamentally alter the environment around them and create new habitat as they're doing it. Also, due to their varied diets and their ability to eat everything from bromeliads and fruit to insects, rodents, fully grown tapir, and even livestock, spectacled bears exert top-down control on the food web as apex predators and also start the nutrient cycle as primary consumers. This means that if they were to disappear, it's uncertain if the ecosystem would be able to survive at all because all of the dynamics would be thrown off, which also makes the spectacled bear a keystone species.
This is why it's so important to protect them from extinction, but unfortunately, that's easier said than done because the threats facing spectacled bears are severe. Rampant habitat loss from human development, conflict with farmers and local people, illegal poaching activity, and rapidly increasing climate change all threaten the spectacled bears, which makes the work we're doing today even more important. I sat filming this male for a few minutes, hoping he would start to eat or do something else interesting, but little did I know, I was about to capture one of the most incredible wildlife moments that we've ever experienced.
Oh my God.
There are 2 spectacled bears in this frame right now, and the one on the right, her name is Silvestre, and she actually has a radio collar on. So she is part of an ongoing study about the behavior and the habits of these animals that is only able to be studied here with this population with the expertise of Danilo and his team.
I cannot believe I was able to capture 2 spectacled bears in the same frame. I am literally speechless right now.
The male bear seemed interested in her, but Silvestre was not having it and chased him away pretty quickly. This was a surreal experience for Evan and me, probably the most we've ever felt like a documentary team out of BBC Earth or something. I will never forget the feeling of sitting on that cliff, watching such a rare wild interaction play out with absolutely no other people in sight, and then seeing the male hightail it out of there when he realized that Silvestre was not in the mood for company. This experience is exactly what MOA aims to share with everyone who visits. And I have to say, when you get to see something this cool play out in the wild, it's not hard to understand why so many people are fascinated by these animals.
Spectacled bears have been a cultural symbol of the Andes for hundreds or even thousands of years, and they've now become an icon in the region. But conflict with local farmers is a reminder that the relationship between bears and people is a complicated one. There's a sort of dichotomy between people that live in countries where spectacled bears exist but don't live in their range, versus people that actually do live alongside them every day. Most people love the bears and see them as a powerful representation of the Andean wilderness. But people who are trying to make a living through agriculture in the region see the bears as a nuisance or a danger, because they eat a lot of crops like corn and sugarcane and even occasionally take livestock like cattle and sheep.
But that is where MOA comes in. They are actively working to change people's perceptions of the spectacled bears and find ways for people and the bears to coexist. And their success in attracting so much ecotourism to the region has proven to the locals that the spectacled bears are worth a lot more alive than dead. Now, if it weren't for the bears, there would be almost no economic incentive to protect the local montane forests or paramo. So they act as an umbrella species, one whose conservation protects all of the other animals who use their same habitat.
Part of MOA's mission is to encourage conservation of native wildlife in a way that respects the people living in the region. And by giving them economic pathways to pursue more opportunities from the ecotourism that the bears generate, they're working to secure a brighter future for spectacled bears and the people that share their irreplaceable home. We're incredibly grateful to have had the opportunity to work alongside Danilo and share the vital work that MOA is doing to protect the spectacled bear. And if you want to get involved, support their conservation mission, or even plan a trip to see the bears for yourself, use the link in the description to check out MOA's website and learn more.
Sharing stories like this is what we live for as educators, and if you want to meet another legendary animal who has changed just about everything about their home, check out this video where we get up close with the world's largest and most fascinating tortoise, the Galapagos giant tortoise.
And with that, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. And one that almost no one ever gets to see in the wild like this.